Spoiler alert. Yes, it's true. I'm giving a spoiler warning because I will be discussing the most recent leaks regarding the plot of Fantastic Four: The First Steps. I'm going to be taking a dive into them. You're all coming with me, so sit back, relax, and welcome to Studio Jake.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Airy. Welcome to the Studio Jake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and if you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell to get notifications when I post a new vidcast and consider becoming a channel member. Not to mention, you can head over to my website, studiojakemedia.substack.com, where you can subscribe and support the channel that way. All right, and like I said, I am giving another spoiler warning. And I also want to stress that this is a rumor, it's a leak, it's unverified. I'm just reading it because I think it's interesting. And I'm not saying it's true, but I will give my opinion on whether I believe it, or at least in part, at the end of the video. So stay tuned to that. And let me know in the comments section below when I'm done with my analysis if you think that this plot leak could be true. By the way, I'm not the first person to report on this. Many other YouTube channels and media outlets have as well. Fandom Pulse did a really good breakdown of it, so you can check out theirs as well. After you watch mine, of course. Okay, so this was posted in the subreddit Leaks and Rumors, of course, on Reddit by Accomplished Fact 543. And like I said, this has spoilers, but we're going to dive into it now. The F4 plot. The film opens with the lines, "You all know the story." We get a brief montage of past battles, including the Fantastic Four fighting Mole Man, and an action sequence with them fighting Red Ghost and his chimps. Back home, Sue discovers she's pregnant. As the team prepares for the baby's arrival, Shalabal, who will be the female Silver Surfer, arrives with a warning. The team decide to go into space after her. She takes them to Galactus, who's on a massive ship consuming a planet. Galactus agrees to spare Earth, but only in exchange for their child. The team refuses and battles the Silver Surfer. During the fight, Shalabal is thrown into a wormhole where she experiences a month, while only minutes pass for the team. In her absence, Reed creates a plan to teleport Earth away from Galactus. But when Shalabala returns, she sabotages the teleportation tech. The team pivots and now are planning to teleport Galactus himself away from the Earth. Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, is the leader of the team. She sacrifices herself to defeat Galactus using all her powers to send him to a portal. She gets resurrected by her son, aka Franklin Richards. Post-credit scene. Sue is reading a book to Franklin. She gets up to grab another one. In the background, we hear the sound of a teleportation device activating. When she returns, she freezes. The book slips from her hand. Standing before her is a cloaked figure, Doctor Doom. We don't see his face, but his full body is visible beneath a silver cloak. In one hand, he holds his iconic mask, rendered in CGI. In the other, he carries an unconscious Franklin. Cut to black. The Fantastic Four will return in Avengers Doomsday. Disney continues its pivot to the MCU, which was postulated by Kevin Feige as a way to try to bring in more female audiences. It was also a politically correct move spawned on by the Me Too movement. And there's certainly nothing wrong with female-centric superhero films. Think about how famous the Supergirl movie that was kind of tied to the Christopher Reeve films were, or Wonder Woman, or Red Sonja, or films like that. But Marvel says that's not enough, and instead we have to turn Sue Storm into some freaking girl boss. Now, this is just a rumor, but I am disappointed that Reed Richards isn't the leader of the team. He should be the leader. That is how it worked. He was the scientist. He was the brains. In fact, for a brief time, the Fantastic Four actually joined the Avengers. They were featured in a story arc that spanned several issues. However, he would often clash with Captain America, who at the time was leading the Avengers, because Captain America, being more military minded, he would tend to lead the Avengers that way, where Reed Richards was always more scientific. And there's nothing wrong with that style of leadership. It's just different. Now, I like Sue Storm as a character. I would rank her as among the top of my favorite female superhero characters, but not in present day Marvel, where she's always having to keep Reed Richards humble. She always has to humble him. He always has to look like just a genius goofball these days. I like it better when he was just kind of more aloof. But then when he needed to be kicked into gear, he always did. And that's what this movie needed to be. Now, supposedly the film was going through some reshoots. So that could mean when it comes out, it looks completely different. But for once, I'm finding myself agreeing with Grace Randolph. She talked a little bit about what the plot would involve, and she said that the Silver Surfette and the Invisible Woman, that they would be the ones to take out Galactus. Now, this was a different rumor. In the original leaked story, apparently it was that the Silver Surfette was going to just randomly produce this cube and then put it into Galactus, kind of Transformer style, when Witwicky does that to Megatron at the conclusion of Transformers. And it was just going to explode, and the Fantastic Four were going to get thrown into a portal, and quite possibly their version of Earth was going to get totally wiped out. Now, Grace Randolph was commenting on this plot and basically said, well, can't the guys be a little involved? It's the Fantastic Four. And normally I don't agree with anything Grace Randolph said. In this case, it appears that once again, all the men are going to get sidelined in favor of their female teammates. And this is just getting old. Why can't they all be involved? The Fantastic Four are supposed to be a team. How it works in the Fantastic Four, it's supposed to be Ben Grimm is the strong and gentle giant. Johnny Storm is the ladies' man. He's the party boy. He's the one who loves being a hero. He loves his powers, and he loves showing up to save the day. Reed Richards is the scientist. He's thoughtful, and yes, he can be a little oblivious and aloof, but he is, at the end of the day, a good leader and a good head of Fantastic Four. Sue Storm, she's supposed to be the powerhouse and also their moral compass. She doesn't even realize how strong she truly is, and that is something that makes her story so compelling. She's humble, she's graceful, she's feminine, but no, not in this. They're going to swap her out for a character who is unrecognizable just so they can get lots of Slay Queen moments on social media that won't translate into tickets. From all this, you could probably gather that, yeah, I'm kind of believing this rumor. I didn't believe the whole Cube and the Galactus one, like I said. I did maybe at first, but it kind of started to sound, no, I don't think Disney would go that route. I don't think they're going to do that. But this one does sound more realistic, more probable to what Disney and Marvel have been doing lately. The question is, though, are all of these leaks from the Galactus destroying Cube to Sue Storm sacrificing herself and Doctor Doom randomly appearing, will all those be present in the recut version? Because remember, they're reshooting a lot of sequences maybe to try to salvage the movie. Marvel definitely has a bad leak problem, and Disney as a whole has a we cast the wrong person problem. And this is what I said to Jester Bell on one of her live streams. Pedro Pascal is a company man. I'm not the first to say this. The Critical Drinker has said this. Midnight's Edge has said this. I'm just saying it's not my original idea. But this idea that Pedro Pascal is a Disney company man who's willing to do whatever they want just to get his name on a casting sheet seems to be the case. And so he was not right to play Reed Richards. They should have gotten Adam Driver. And if someone like Adam Driver turned down the script because he didn't like the direction that the character is going, maybe that's a lesson, because it wasn't just Adam Driver. Apparently 4 people passed on the opportunity to play Reed Richards because they didn't like how he was portrayed in the script. Maybe that ought to be a clue that you should change the script. That makes a lot more sense to me, but they didn't do that. And so here's Pedro Pascal. The guy is a decent actor. I'm not saying that he doesn't have talent, but he is being overused to us. Hollywood always does this, where they get this attitude where it's like, this is our it person, and it can be a man or a woman. Either way, I tend to believe these specific rumors about the Fantastic Four first steps, and I'm a little upset about it because I really want to like this movie. I don't want to go into a movie prepared not to like it unless it's something weird like the Eternals or something like that, or Ironheart, or some knockoff story, or a story that's unrecognizable from its source material. If you like that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment, tell me what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell to get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. If you want to support me in the work that I do, head on over to my new website, studiojakemedia.substack.com, where you can read most of my articles for free, or you can subscribe at different levels. I have different tiers that unlock different perks, including getting to choose topics for the website and here on this vidcast. At the conveniently titled Buy My Book section on said website, you can pick up one or all four of my novels. I've got links all over the place, and they're all available on Amazon. If you purchase one or all of them, leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.